Hey, Ryan Joe Outdoors YouTube channel. Today my video is going to be all about everything that I take tackle wise when I go kayak bass fishing. Coming up. Let's get started. So first of all, what I want to talk about is the evolution of your tackle system. So when I first started kayak fishing, my setup was completely different from this. It was a lot less starting out whenever I got back into fishing, but it's kind of evolved into this, and this is kind of like what I've settled on. There are a couple of things that are kind of unique to the kayak that I have with my setup. I'll get to that in a moment. So let's start with the kayak crate. So as you see, my kayak crate, basic milk crate. I did get these 3 rod holders, and I fastened them to either side. Basically with the 2 rod holders on my kayak, that gives me a total of 8 rods that I can take. So that gives me a lot of versatility when it comes to my rod and reel selection, which I'll get to in another video. But as far as what I take in my kayak crate, we'll get to that. So my kayak crate really is mainly for my terminal tackle and also for my soft plastics. So you'll notice that everything in here is really organized and well labeled, and that's because I like to be able to turn around, see what I'm going to grab, and know exactly what I'm looking for. So the first 2 boxes are going to be my terminal tackle. So these are these thin tackle boxes. I will find what size they are and link them in the YouTube description below. But they are basically one is for just terminal tackle, and then one is for weighted. So when I say weighted, that's just mainly jig heads, anything like that. The regular just terminal tackle is going to be for all of my bullet weights, drop shot hooks, and just regular fishing hooks. So what I've done with this system is on the inside of every box, I don't know if you can see it right there, but I'll try to open it up. I just printed out double-sided labels, and I used heavy-duty packaging tape to tape them on the inside of the lid, so you see them from not only the outside but the inside. And basically that allows me to keep all of my stuff really, really organized. I had originally done this with a label maker, but you're not really able to control the size of the font the way that I want it to. These are a lot bigger, they're easier to see, and they've lasted. This terminal tackle box I've probably had done, it's probably at least 4 or 5 years that this one I've not really changed. But basically I keep it pretty simple. I have anywhere from an 1/8 ounce bullet weight up to a 1 ounce bullet weight, and then I have your basic drop shot. I have 3/16, quarter, 3/8, and a 1/2 ounce drop shot. I've got drop shot hooks, swivels, Carolina rig weights, basically anything I need to set up my terminal tackle. Next, with my weighted terminal tackle, I have basically all the jig heads that I use, whether it be stuff for Ned rigs, jig heads for tubes, jig heads for curly tail grubs, and then I also have some other custom weighted jigs that I put in this box also. So now that we're done with the terminal tackle, we can get to all the soft plastic boxes, and I'll try to go through this quickly. So this one, as you see on the top, is your swim baits, flukes, and lizards. So when you look at it, You have your lizards up top. I just mainly keep 3 colors. I keep it really basic. You have a black and blue watermelon seed, and then just a green pumpkin. And then down here on the bottom are my flukes, and my swimming caffeine shads is what I use. Same thing, like I stick to either like a natural shad, like a white, or a watermelon red, or green pumpkin, just basic color schemes, because like you don't have a ton of real estate in a kayak. And I used to keep all of my soft plastics in one of the, like, started out in a Ziploc bag, got into one of those like little tackle binders. Really didn't like that. I think this is like probably my favorite. It keeps me organized, and also when I run out, like I know what to buy to replace the exact thing. Next is going to be my crawls and chunks. So once again, like I try to stick with like mainly one brand on this, but let's see here. So all my like chunks, I have the Paka chunks by NetBait, basic like sapphire blue, kind of like a bright blue color for like when it's murky water, natural crawl, green pumpkin, and black and blue. And then I also have just Zoom super chunks. That's more for like cold water situation. They don't have a lot as much action, and I have those in kind of like basically the same basic colors, but I also do keep it in a white, and that's mainly, I like to use those on you can either just like rig it weightless and scoot it across the top, or you can also put it on to chatterbait. And then like for my crawls, I like the baby Paka crawls. Personally, my favorite. Like I've never really noticed the difference between the baby and the larger size. I used to carry the larger size, and I just like stuck with the baby. I do a lot of stream fishing, so that's a lot of why I just chose the smaller ones. So that's that box. The next box is going to be my drop shot and tube box. So I am a very big fan of the KVD Strike King Dream Shot. So I have in here, I mainly just keep 3 colors of the Dream Shot in this box. The brown purple Morning Dawn, like that's a great color for murky water. The Chartreuse Blue Glimmering Ghost Shad is a great color also when it's like a little bit more clear water. And then I also have the KVD Magic for a little bit more clear water. Majority of the time I go with the brown purple around here, and that's just because like our water usually has a good amount of color to it. Probably like one of my secret weapons, I guess I would call it my secret weapon, are these Bass Pro Shops tubes. Like they're great quality tube, but probably my favorite thing are these tubes right here. They are the teaser tubes. They are 2 3/4 inches, but they are really chunky, like a really like chunky tube. It's not really slender. A lot of the smaller tubes are like really slender. These actually have some good meat to them, and I like can kill some fish on these. You just throw internal weight inside of it, it'll do like a spiral when it goes down, and it's deadly. But I also have them in the Tinder tube size, which is a 3.5 inch. I like those also, but man, these teaser tubes are money. They usually don't carry them in the store around here, so I basically like have to order them online. I hope they never get rid of them. Next box is going to be my Grubs and Creature box. So this, I have classic Zoom Fat Albert grubs in the 3-inch size. Basically like chartreuse white, like a purple color, June bug, watermelon red, and then salt and pepper, green pumpkin. Just like same basic color scheme. I really like those. Those are a great all-around bait. A lot of people don't use those anymore. Like, it kind of seem like old-fashioned, but man, like, they're great. Then for the creature baits, I really like the Berkeley Havoc Pit Boss in the 4-inch size. They have a lot of good action. Like, you can do a lot with them. I mean, you can throw them on the back of a jig if you want a bigger profile, or you can also just rig them up weightless. I've done that before and just like swam them. Like, really versatile bait. Like, I love them, and they're really not that expensive either, and you can find them just about anywhere, Walmart or Bass Pro or anything, Cabela's. So next gonna be my big worm box. You can kind of tell that I need to reload this sucker because I'm actually out of 2 different types, but these I'm not so crazy about like which brand it is, but they're just going to be my bigger worms. I have like the top 3 spots are for 10-inch worms and the bottom 3 are for 7-inch ribbon tail worms. So like I said, like same thing with the labels that are inside and out, and obviously like everybody knows about some big worms. I mean, a couple years ago they were like slaying them on Kentucky Lake with those big worms. I mean, I really think in my last video, like looking at what people were throwing, like they were throwing big worms and creature baits, Texas rigged at Taylorsville Lake. And if you haven't seen that video yet, I will put a link in the YouTube card so you can go check that video out. The last soft plastic box in here is just going to be my Senkos. Senkos are great, like fishing from a kayak. Like, these can be bread and butter. You can really sneak up on fish in a kayak, and these can be like deadly. If you never tried a Senko, like, check it out. There's tons of videos on YouTube on how to rig them up, how to use them, but they're just a great finesse presentation, whether it's pressured lakes or like high bluebird skies. Like, they're killer. You can also take these, and I mean, like, they got really popular now because of the Ned rig, but you can also throw them on a Carolina rig, fish them like that. You can fish them on a drop shot. You can like wag your rig a drop shot and fish them like that. There are tons of ways that you can fish some of these Senko worms. So as far as everything else in my kayak crate, I made some lanyards for my fishing rods that I used, these cable cuffs, and these are old cell phone chargers. I can find a link on how to do that, and I will link that in the description. But I don't really use them that often. Really mainly like if I'm out somewhere where I think, big lake or something like that, where I think there's a possibility of me like flipping. That way I don't lose all my rods. If you're carrying 8 rods and you lose 8 rods, that's a huge deal. As far as everything else I keep in my box, I do keep some marker buoys, extra line, leader material, a waterproof box that is lanyard here, and then a hoo rag for when it's really bright outside. So that's like the basics of like my kayak crate. There is a lot to it, and a lot of personal preference when it comes to what you carry when you're out on your kayak. So sit that down. So as I said in the beginning of the video, like a lot of this is based on how my kayak is set up. I have space in the back for that. Some kayaks, that's like all you have. So you'd really be forced to integrate not only your soft plastics but also your hard baits in there. But in the Jackson that I have the Jackson CUDA 12. There is a tank in the center that you can flip up, and you have space right there, like right in front of you. So that's what I use for my hard baits. So basically, like, all these fit straight down. So when I'm in the kayak, I can set up like this, so I can see all these labels. Makes it really convenient for being able to pull something out, pull out the right box. So go over the first box. The first box here is going to be a crankbait box. Same thing with the labels though. Like, I have all the labels, so I can look in and tell which lures I've got. This little guy stuck here, but you know, like, a lot of my stuff is Strike King. I like Strike King. Like, it's well priced, and like, I've caught plenty of fish on it. I know that there are a lot of minute differences between lures, but it just makes it simple for me. I just prefer to keep it mainly to Strike King. But basically, like, these are everything, and it has on the label, it has not only the type of crankbait, and like what number it is, whether it's like a 3XD or whatever, and then it also has the depth range. So for me, like, now I know like what these lures do, but whenever I was first getting back into fishing, like, it really did help to get an idea of what the depth range was on these different lures. So because it's not really easy to remember sometimes. But I've got my KVD 1.5s and 2.5s, basic colors. Chartreuse shad, like chartreuse blackback, like a crawl pattern. A bluegill, like sunfish pattern, is like works really well. I also do have a spot here for, these are actually the KVD 1.5 and then a 2.5 that are rattling. They're not silent. You can, I think the only place you can get those is Bass Pro. So this is for Series 4, which is the 5 to 8 foot. This is the 1.5 flats, which is more of like back before Strike King had the Lucky Shad. I think that was like how they were trying to compete with the Shad Wraps. But that's what that is. Those are more natural colors, and crawls, it's supposed to be more of like for like early spring kind of deal. Let's see here. This is unlabeled. I do have some like bomber crankbaits. And then I have some, this little guy is supposed to be in here. This is a KVD 3XD, or a Strike King 3XD. We've got the Series 5 is down here. I really like these just regular Series 5 and 4s. They're great crankbaits from mid-depth range. And then down at the bottom, you have our 6XDs. And then you have the 5XDs down here. So, skip around the next, what makes sense here. So this is going to be shad wraps, jerk baits, and lipless crankbaits. It's probably the one that I've worked on most recently. But I kind of like really got into winter fishing, so I kind of like went a little bit crazy with getting some jerk baits. So I still need to probably like refine this box a little bit, but I love shad wraps. Like, shad wraps in the winter are money. Like, they're great crankbaits. You can change the hooks out on them. I know like a lot of people will change the hooks out on them to be bigger hooks. It helps them like rise a little faster, or you can actually get them almost to suspend. But then I also have some blade baits in here, some spoons, and then also my lipless cranks are in here. Red eye shad is what I use. Like, I thought about getting some of the like newer ones, the 2-tap ones, but I just haven't. I don't really fish them a lot. Like, I don't have a ton of confidence in them. But crazy enough, it's actually what my largest personal best smallmouth has come on was actually a lipless. And then like as far as the jerk baits go, I have like a little bit of everything. I have the Strike King version in like the shorter version and also the larger version. I have the Smithwick suspending rogues. I have them in the Perfect 10, the 10-foot diving ones. And then I have the Rapala X-Wraps. I have a couple of those. That's kind of like what I was thinking the other day. I probably could have ripped some of those, but I didn't end up getting to it. But that's kind of like that box. Alright, so let's get to this. So the next one is going to be my jig box. So jig and topwater. And it's also got my chatterbaits in there. But, you know, basically, like with this one, nothing crazy about it. You know, like some of the best, like Denny Brower, like some of the best jig fishermen, like stick to the plain colors. I don't have crazy colors in here. It's gonna be black and blue, like, you know, like a brown color, or like watermelon, green pumpkin kind of colors. Nothing crazy. You know, that's basically like what I have as far as jig colors. I have like football jigs. I have, I really like the brush head style jigs, like the heavy wood ones or the archy style. And then let's see here. So what else is in here? We have our chatterbaits. Chatterbaits, I just stick with the Z-Man chatterbait. That's perfect for me. So here you actually see I got one in here that's rigged up. It's a green pumpkin one, but I got the for the trailer on that, it's actually a purple or a blue, like sapphire blue, I think, Pit Boss. Caught some swamp donkeys on that one. And then for topwater, I've never had a ton of success on topwater. I've probably not dedicated enough time to it. I recently bought some whopper ploppers, but I've got some, you know, frogs in here, and then some like spooks and stuff like that in here. But topwater hasn't ever really been my thing. I just probably need to work on it for another video. Last one is going to be my spinnerbait box. I've got it. I know it's all like crazy color coded, but the top is all buzzbaits. We've got spots here for double Colorados. And then we have like tandems, and then double willow, and then a spot down here for single Colorado blade spinnerbaits. So each of these different colors is a different weight. So like the red is a 1/4 ounce, the green is 3/8 ounce, the yellow is 1/2 ounce, and then the blue is 3/4 ounce. In each of those, I actually have designated. I know this seems like I'm like Rain Man or something, but like I actually have a designated color for each of those spots, like exactly what I want to go in this box. I need to, like, I got rid of a lot of stuff because like it was either worn or like it wasn't what I wanted. So like I actually need to replenish this and go through and rebuy everything that goes in here. But alright, so that's it. So when you look at that system, it probably seems like a lot of stuff, but like I like to take my gear out with me and then know I have what I need. I'd rather, I think they say like rather to have more than you need than to not have enough or something like that. But like I like to know that I have everything. And the key to this is that like I don't carry a bunch of extras, so I don't carry a multiples of the same color. So a very important aspect of this is a good lure retriever. That way that if I do get something stuck, that I can get it back. So I will talk about that in another video. That's basically it. So hopefully you got something out of this. Like if you're on here like trying to research what you want to put in your kit for going out in a kayak and going bass fishing, hopefully this helps you out a little bit. If it does help you out a little bit, hit subscribe. Go ahead and comment below with anything that you take in yours, or any of your opinions on how you rig up your kayak tackle storage system. And hope to see you back here again. See you next time.